Brazil is well known for its warm climate, beautiful views, and also for its rich cultural treasures. Art, for instance, in the Brazilian culture, is an expression of the development of a culture that takes pride on its roots. Candomblé, afoxé, capoeira, and maculelê are some of the rhythms and dances that make up the Afro-Brazilian culture. Today, we'll explore the music and history of capoeira. Capoeira is an Afro-Brazilian martial art that was brought to Brazil by African slaves during the 16th to the 18th century. Slaves were transported to Brazil to work on the sugar plantations. During this time, capoeira and many other forms of African cultural expression were prohibited. Plantation masters feared capoeira could be used as means of protection. With this prohibition, African slaves created a more disguised form of fight, incorporating dance-like movements to hide any concept of violence portrayed by capoeira. For the past 10 years, sociologist Madeleine Cousineau has visited Brazil and studied different aspects of this culture.
Capoeira is a very important symbol of the Northeast, with the use of slavery very much in the Northeast, with the oppression of the slaves, that every area of their life was controlled. They were not even allowed to fight among themselves, and that capoeira originated as a symbolic fight, that people fought with each other in dance form. And in that way, I think it very much represents the reality of slavery.
For African slaves, capoeira was more than a means of protection. It also reinforced their self-esteem, freedom, and the preservation of their culture.
And it's also a beautiful story of how it created, because in Brazil, in the first quilombos, you had the multicultural society of escaped people, Portuguese people, Native Indians, and Africans from many cultures, all living together in a democratic way back in the 1700s, 1600s.
The traditional Capoeira Angola presents spontaneous dance-like movements. The name refers to the country of origin, Angola. Its fundamental characteristics are the combination of mental and physical discipline, adding a spiritual mood to the game.
Capoeira Angola, that's the way capoeira started. It's a dance in disguise, a self-defense by the slave. For me, capoeira is the way I describe myself, is the way I live in, the way I survive, is my philosophy.
Today, capoeira is well known in Brazil and other countries. One of the first masters to introduce the art of capoeira in the United States was Alejandro, who, at the age of 14, was introduced to the martial art.
I started teaching capoeira in 1979, because I really love. Then I knew right in the beginning that was going to be my going. Gonna be my profession. And I started teaching in 1979, and I became a master in 1986. Capoeira have everything we need, martial art, dance, self-defense, music. And I'm still here today to pass this message to everybody.
Alejandro moved to the United States in 1984 with the intention of promoting Capoeira Angola and also other aspects of the Brazilian culture. In 1996, he opened the Brazilian Cultural Center of New England, located in Cambridge.
I started teaching capoeira after 4 months. I was in the U.S. for little kids. Then 2 years later, I come to Boston area. Then I started teaching at Martin Luther King High School. And about 2 years ago, I decided to buy this building. I was looking for a little place to teach capoeira, but when I saw the space, I say to myself, this place is gonna be a Brazilian Cultural Center of New England.
Student of Master Deraldo, Leslie Lake was introduced to the art of capoeira through the dance world.
I started playing capoeira about 5 years ago. Capoeira, for me, is like when young animals play with each other, and they do that to develop their skills to deal with life, and capoeira does that for me. I would never ever change from capoeira to a different martial art. Capoeira satisfies me more than anything that I've done, and I've done a lot of different things.
During the game of capoeira, players take turns in pairs. First, they execute what's called the anthem of capoeira, in which they pay respect to the great masters and to the roots of capoeira. Inside the roda, or circle, players use a variety of movements, combining legs, torso, and head movements.
We have a musician sit on the bench, and it's from the bateria. Then around the bench, we make a circle. That was called a roda. So when the musicians start to play the instruments, and the two capoeiristas come in the center, and they start to, we start to singing, Ron is singing, they start to play the capoeira. That was from the roda. So all the movements we teach in all the class, the students have to concentrate and show right here in a roda.
During the game, players pace their movements to the rhythms of African Brazilian instruments like the pandeiro, atabaque, and berimbau. The berimbau is a fundamental instrument for the music of capoeira and for establishing the pace of the game.
This wood here is a very special wood called beriba wood. And this is called gourd, cabaça. This is a wire from the car tire, bicycle tire. And also piano wire is kind of good too for that from the whole berimbau. Then we have those caxixi. Right here we have the vareta. It's a semi-piece, the beriba wood, we make that one. Then we have the dobrão. The berimbau was invented in Africa, yes. I believe that the rhythm is Brazilian, because in Africa they still have the berimbau today, but they don't have the same rhythm we have.
The lyrics for the music of capoeira are also important for the game. These lyrics tell stories about life, customs, and historic events during slavery times. Master Deraldo has been teaching capoeira since he was 19. For him, it's important that students understand and respect the origins of capoeira.
They have to know what they're gonna do it. They have to know the roots. They have to know the tradition. On this school here, we teach them right in the beginning, because I want to make sure they know what they're gonna do it. even if they don't like, but they have to know the background.
Capoeira basically mixes every aspect of my life together. It has, philosophy, tradition. It's actually part of my ethnic lineage because it's from Africa, but mostly because it incorporates spirituality almost from an African and Afro-Brazilian thinking. That's what the most important meaning to me, and because it's also part of our historical struggle. So in there is sort of honoring the process that we've all gone through, and it's also a beautiful story of how we created.
The passion for this dance is present during classes of capoeira, and students have a great respect for their masters.
He's kind of like a father figure, yet an older brother figure at the same time. He has a beautiful energy. Capoeira is very community oriented. I can't do it. That's the thing that I like the most about it, is that I'm relying on every single one of these people out here to kind of like help me learn. We don't wear the belts. We don't have a hierarchy of levels or anything like that. Like we're all brothers and sisters when we play, and that's really kind of the aesthetic that I really like. Everyone's relying on me for my energy and vice versa. So it's more of kind of like a building energy through a group. I think that's a lot more transferable to the outside world, not just the martial world, but like when you bring that back into your own community or into your own neighborhood, I think it means more, which is why I stick with it. I don't see that in the other martial art forms that I've studied before.
The 1998 International Capoeira Encounter was held at the Brazilian Cultural Center of New England. The event brought together the greatest masters of capoeira, promoting the practice and history of this martial art.
The International Capoeira Encounter is first to support the Masters of Brazil. You work with traditional masters of Brazil, the old masters from northeastern Brazil, Salvador, Bahia. And to give a chance to the students don't have a chance to go to Brazil to see those masters, because they are the last ones in the generation for the old traditional masters. And at the same time, to give a chance to the students to know them, and to then come in here and have some work and some value, and we can learn the foundation of capoeira, the tradition of capoeira.
In terms of pride of one's culture, pride of one's region, especially a great deal of regional pride, I see that very strongly in Brazil. Pride in one's heritage, in one's music, in all of the aspects of culture. So in terms of the multiculturalism of Brazil, I would say yes, that capoeira is a very important piece of it.
It was only in 1937 that capoeira was legalized and recognized in Brazil as a folkloric art. Since then, capoeira is growing in popularity in Brazil and around the world. People from different ethnic backgrounds are joining this art form.
The art form is now focused on individual development for the sake of also a community. If you think of the way it's done, people sing and clap, everybody is involved in the capoeira ritual, and it bonds the community politically, socially. When you think about the friendships you have with capoeiristas, it's like blood brothers, and blood brothers and sisters. So even as his style changed from sort of a mixture of Regional and Angola to strictly Angola, we always had this true respect for the masters that are preserving the art form in its traditional aspects.
never did capoeira before in my life, even in Brazil. I've just seen people doing it. But then when I come in the United States, on the first year past, I was here for 2 years after 1989. So when I saw capoeira for the first time, I'm just interested doing it. Before that, I used to be like lifting the weights. So I'm just dropping there and I started doing capoeira. It's just not because it's Brazilian thing because I'm Brazilian, just because of the way, you know, the exercise and the stuff, the way you move. I'm just interested about it. And since I was starting capoeira, I'm still doing it today. What I see in capoeira is like, you got a movements, I mean, tons of movements. But plus, you work your mind, your body, your spirit. You know, you have a lot of concentration about it. It's not one thing. If you want to do capoeira, it's something else. But if you want to be capoeira, it's another thing. That's what I want to be. I want to be capoeira.
Capoeira has gained the attention it deserved, and masters of capoeira hope that people perform this beautiful orchestration of movements for fun and purity, respecting and preserving the roots of capoeira, a great treasure for the Brazilian culture.
Tempo que levava a rosa pra plumar o balaio, quando sentia que o balaio ia escorregar. E volta do mundo, camará. E mundo dá volta, camará. Esse tempo nunca passa, não é de ontem nem de hoje, mora no som da cabaça, não tá preso nem foge, num instante que tange o